Today we are interviewing Victor Vadaneaux, entrepreneur and business leader who graduated from École Polytechnique. Victor Vadaneaux, welcome and thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
You have a very international profile. You are Romanian, you studied here in France at École Polytechnique and in the US at Harvard. You are directing the board of a company based in Switzerland. How important is internationalization for industrials and engineers today?
Well, I think first of all, globalization is here and it's been here for a while. It will not go away. It will get even bigger and stronger. And I think whether you want it or not, people have to look at themselves and their careers in an international backdrop. And they have to, I think, to be, you have to become international. There's no option. There's no more option today. And I think it's true for managers, for business people, but it's true for engineers because, just competition, but innovation happens everywhere. And if you want to contribute to that and participate in that, you have to be able to collaborate with people around the world. You have to be able to move around and work around the world. It's just, the world has to be your oyster, as they say.
Through your company, you talked a bit about collaborations. You do have a lot of collaborations with universities. What is the good recipe to foster collaborations between higher education and research institutions on one side and businesses, industrial businesses in particular, on the other?
Look, I think the relationship is very strong, and I never knew that before I got involved with this company in Switzerland called North Thin Ply Technology. It's a company that is involved in material science and composite material development based on carbon fiber. And that's an area where there's a lot of innovation. There's not yet a standardized type of product. I mean, there are some segments of the industry that are standardized, but others are not. And precisely where the product is not standardized yet, it's where the main benefits will come in the future. So I'm talking specifically, to be clear, about aerospace. Aerospace is using more and more composite materials. Boeing, Airbus, 50% of Airbus 350 now is made out of carbon fiber. More than 50% of a Boeing 787 is made out of carbon fiber. So this company that I'm on the board of, and I actually ran the company with the founder for a while, and then appointed a CEO about 6 months ago. But this is a business where, when you're in a company, you don't have the resources to cover a whole wide area of development. You can focus on one area, and you have to make money ultimately because you have to pay your costs. So you have to focus. Whereas universities have a much wider range of interests. So you have people who know much broader. So there's a real natural communication. It so happens this company is just near Lausanne, so near Ecole Polytechnique Charitable de Lausanne. And there's a strong relationship. EPFL played a big role in the solar impulse, for example. Mm-hmm. Our materials are in the solar impulse, so the actual wing is made with the NTPT material, so we're very proud of that. But the collaboration is very strong. And actually, I was involved in one particular project that we're doing with EPFL, which is to develop resins. The carbon fiber is basically just dry fiber that gets impregnated with resin to make what is called a pre-preg material that gets curated and then gets cured, rather, and then it gets strong as steel. And the resin is very important. And we're doing this development with, so we know all about carbon fiber. They know about resin. So these have to come together. So we're working with a professor there of science. And I was involved in a negotiation with EPFL for the collaboration. And I was amazed, first of all, how much they know, right? They are interested in us because they also can learn about something specifically. But also, I was interested to see that they were very commercial in their negotiation. They don't just want to publish papers. What they want is commercial rights. And I must say, I had to go very high in the hierarchy of EPFL to negotiate it, because I said, all you guys want is write a scientific paper about it. We want, obviously, the innovation. So whatever comes out of the joint collaboration should be ours, and our intellectual property. And they said, no, we want to share in that. So it's very interesting how commercial they were. But clearly, the scientific world and the business world have a lot in common. They have to work together. There's no question.
So you talked about EPFL, and you also currently live in London, where the approach towards higher education and academia is very different from ours in France. So you have different models here, and you know about the model of grandes écoles, such as École Polytechnique. What is your perspective on our French model from abroad?
The French people are tremendously successful abroad, and you see that in many cases. There are many leaders of companies that are French. They are people who live abroad who have done great things. But the system of grandes écoles is, the scientific and the analytical capability are without pair. There's no question about that. You don't find that anywhere else. So that is very strong, and that's recognized everywhere. There's no question.
So you came today at École Polytechnique to give a conference to our students about your career, because our students see you as a mentor and a role model. What advice do you give them?
I mean, I guess the main thing is I look back at my years here and what was on my mind 30 years ago when I was here, and I had no clue about the world, which is kind of normal, right? And if there's one thing that I would say that for me was it took me a while to kind of get to that point, is to really, in order to succeed and to do the maximum I can do and blossom, if you like, you need to know yourself. You need to know what motivates you, which is different from others. And it's very easy when you're 20, 25 years old to actually follow in the vein of what other people are saying, you should do. But ultimately, you have to know what you really want out of life. And, with that in mind, hopefully, if I had that idea and kind of got it then, 30 years ago, I probably would have done things a bit differently. But it took me a while to get there. And that's the only thing that, in retrospect, I would say would be useful to have known.
Mm-hmm. So that's a truly personal question, but what about you? What did you learn about yourself?
Oh, that's actually quite interesting. I learned, for example, that, like everybody, I started in life thinking, success, professional success is the main thing. I want to just make as much progress as possible, become as, wealthy or as successful and go as high in the organization as possible and so on. And then after a while I realized that's not really what I want. What I want is real balance between my personal life and my work life.
So you are also a major donor for Ecole Polytechnique Charitable Trust in the UK. Why did you decide to support our foundation?
Well, it's interesting because I started, when I was contacted the first time by Jacques Garayald in London. I remember he invited me for lunch. I'm like, well, this is kind of, it's nice to have lunch with you, Jacques, it's nice. And then he was telling me about EECS, and I was like, but EECS, this Ministry of the Army, the government is behind, the students are getting paid, why would we, alumni, give money to the school? And then, put into perspective, I realized that it's very difficult for the state to support the school. There's an alumni body there that is benefited from the school, but is not as connected as it could be, and is not giving back as much as they could give back. So then I completely switched my mind. I realized actually, no, there's a real need there, and then it became a principle for me. So right now it's a matter of principle. It's not even a matter of tax benefits because you give X and actually the school gets X plus 50% or whatever, but it's just a principle. I think the school is very much part of who I am, and I feel that giving back is the least I could do. And I think I say that to everybody. If I meet people who don't know about a campaign, I say, well, you should give. Everybody to their means, of course. But that is a commitment. That is a kind of engagement that you make, and I think it's quite important.
Victor Vadaneaux, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.